Alright, so this time we are going to review a matchup between two former LEC finalists. We will look at it from the perspective of one of the best free agents on the market in Europe right now, which is Nemesis, versus a potential World Championship player Nuck from BDS. Nemesis, in my opinion, a great player 3 years ago when he was still playing professionally on Fnatic, but I think with his extended stays in Korea he's even better now than he was back then, so I'm excited to see his current level. Let's get straight into it. Sadly, this VOD has no minimap, but we will have to work with what we have. First thing that happens is a flash trade bot lane. I think it's debatable if it's worth it or not. Alistair has Hex Flash, so he still has the less impactful version of the Summoner spell, and Nemesis loses a tool that could be used for a gank setup with the Poppy. On the other hand, realistically he won't need Flash defensively at least, because there's no real gank threat from Lilia the Jace. So I think it's not that big of a deal. This right here, a bit over aggressive by Nuck. He should threaten Ahri when she's about to enter lane, not that far into the jungle, and also use the time to prep his minions, which would give him a small advantage when it comes to control over the lane, but overall Nemesis responds quite well here. So this E to get a minion is a bit greedy. Why is that? Usually you would start W in this matchup and contest the level 2 as Ahri, but because of the level 1 with the E start, it is much more difficult to do that now. So what Jace would have to do here is walk up, hold his Q and auto attack the minions in between, and then kind of stay on this line, because Nemesis has no good response now, he can't trade back at all. This way Jace can secure an early level 2 and get control over the lane. But he is releasing the Q way too early here, big blunder by Nuck, not punishing that. And the same concept, by the way, it works on other champs as well, like let's say instead of Jace we have Orianna. Just hold Q and threaten the trade. If he walks up then you can trade him, if not you kind of zone him from auto-attacking the CS and then you have a favorable position for yourself. But yeah, didn't happen, so we reach level 2 at the same time. In general, when thinking about the jungle matchup, Lilia heavily outpaces Poppy, so she will look for invades and try to steal her camps and things like that, especially on like the Raptors camp, but also on other camps. So we really have to keep that in mind and maybe like put a ward on these kind of spots, things like that. Fantastic E here, really nice trade. Versus good players you have to look for these kind of E's quite a bit, like when they go for a CS or when a minion is about to die, when you see a movement pattern, things like that. At this point we can talk about the lane state a little bit. So this is a very awkward lane state for Nuck. Nemesis holding it there really well. It's the kind of position you want to get out of ASAP, because it's so dangerous in terms of getting ganked. And you can't really leave it like that either. You have to crash it to return to a more favorable lane state. And it's all, at the same time it's also really comfortable and ungankable for Ahri, who has also no flash right now. If he played the level 1 correctly, he could have crashed his third wave already and been in a much better position. So yeah, in general Jace has an easy time crashing it with all his AoE spells against champions like let's say a Fizz or a Qiyana, champions like that. With low wave clear you can try to abuse this position much more, like this kind of area, this kind of zone, and they can get really stuck in it and with no safe way to clear it. So yeah, Nook realizes that and tries to crash it using all his cooldowns, but it might be a little too late at this point. Poppy missed pretty much close to everything, but no problem, why hit anything if you can just kill him like that? So I think right now this is a bit of a mistake by Nemesis. He should base earlier after the kill and not stay in lane for that long. When we look back, he could even just Q the two minions to be a bit quicker and then like instantly recall, or like move back a bit and recall. You can't really do anything with this wave state, you can't push, you can't freeze, you can't do anything. So if you base now, you lose at most one minion, get the exact same items with Darksteel and boots, and won't put yourself into a risk to get stuck in lane, thanks to getting your base cancelled or things like that. Which would in turn result in losing more CS and XP and also not being able to help your jungle, who might need it since Lilia will try to abuse the fact that Poppy sacrificed camps for the level 3 gank. So just instantly recall, don't waste your time like that. Luckily Jace wastes his EQ here, which is his tool to cancel the recoil, so this makes it easy to fix the situation and base safely. Not really much to say here, just trying to catch as many CS as possible while trading and dodging. So now there are some jungle shenanigans going on, but we can't really influence that either way, so not much to do here. When looking at Nemesis positioning, notice how he's always using his wave, staying behind minions, not giving the Jace good openings for an EQ. This is a really basic concept. Since Jace EQ costs a ton of mana, you can even try to bait it, going close to the minions and then like wiggle back again, things like that. If Jace ignores all that and tries to trade really hard, it will be over aggressive and he will lose the trade thanks to the charm, so that's not really an option or not a real option. And if he tries to shift heavily to one side to gain like a better angle or things like that, we can just mirror it with this movement to the opposite direction and hold the distance. Nemesis doesn't do that well here. Should have eaten earlier. Now it gets a bit difficult until reaching level 6, where Jace will be under threat again by support or jungle ganks. So not the best trade sequences, but the idea still stands. Really insane E now though. And an ambitious all-in by Nak here. Can't work because you need one more auto attack with the EQ if it even hits, which then would result in kind of a traded kill probably while using flash, so that's not really worth it. And yeah, now as a result Nemesis gets a perfect recoil. I respect the limit test though by Nak, you gotta try things like that to see what is possible. Really nice E-dodge by Nak, both players just testing their movements and mechanics a bit here. So what we are thinking about now is how to set up a gank on Jace, since he just wasted his flash, and we have flash up, we have R up, we have E up, everything is up. The wave is currently even pushing towards us, so that is really optimal. So it should be possible to make life really hard for the Jace right now. His team had a similar thought, but the execution was not quite there. Also, this is classic mid lane, always have to be aware of all the timings by other lanes, and the jungle, especially support who if they want can look mid after most resets sadly. Yeah, but we can't really track that because of the map cover. Nice Q as Ahri, try to max range hit the Qs so you get the instant return damage proc with the true damage. We avoid the gank here quite well. Ahri, one of the safest mid laners you can play when it comes to that. With her ult up she is nearly impossible to kill. Yeah, not much to say for now, we have to look for a reset. Another well-timed invade by the Lilia. It's really hard for Poppy to play against that, to be honest. Yeah, it's just not a good pick against Lilia at all. To be honest, in this game, some really messy skill shots by Nemesis, so I'm a bit surprised. Ahri's ult is coming up, so maybe there's still some angles to go for. Really well played here though. Clean solo kill. Pretty common play with these kind of skill shots. Clear minions, then fire them through the newly created opening. This is a great example of that and it can really catch your opponent off guard. So keep that in mind also on other champions. To be honest, I regret a bit not using a replay with a minimap, because we can talk about support and jungle resets and what's really going on the map, It's important to notice because it also influences how to proceed in lane and what wave states to play for. But yeah, what can you do? At least now we can see Kai'Sa is roaming mid right now, which is really creative by her. Most AD carries go straight back into their lane mostly, besides maybe for a Herald play, and just let their supports do these kind of things. But yeah, Jay's very susceptible to ganks without flash, especially against Ahri with ult and E up, so we'll have to respect that. Nug probably didn't foresee the Kai'Sa roam here, so really clean play by them. Ah, gets hit by Lilia E, that's unfortunate. This is just a complete misplay, to be honest. Could be avoided if we are not lazy and locked camera. So we move our cam around a bit and see about ongoing threats. We still have ult up and we can safely hit the turret and dodge things like that. But yeah, didn't do that. Lilia E normally very slow and easy to dodge, so if we see it early enough it's no problem. Very avoidable death. We are using TP here to not give him the chance to get any plates. Joining this play is not really an option, so Nemesis is just going to clear the ward and then go back mid, pushing the wave in, and potentially playing with the Herald. Right now also we can try to look a bit for a kill on Jace, since he lost quite a bit of HP, but diving alone is a bit difficult. I think the damage threshold probably not quite there. With the plate gold we got our Mythic now, so it's possible to look for a reset. Mythic, always a really nice power spike, especially on Ahri with this CC chain, you have a bit more possibilities. But we get a bit of a party now in mid, not really much to say, just have to respond until we can reset. Yeah, very interesting. So, well, I think that's about it for the laning phase. To be honest, very hit or miss game by Nemesis mechanically, but I think I was able to show some nice fundamentals here and there that can also translate to other champions and other matchups as well. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe and like whatever you feel like, and I hopefully see you on the next one.